Yeah, well, there's two absent, so I pulled chairs out.
Okay.
Pictures up. Hit it.
Are we on? All right, here we go. Everybody grab a seat. Great. Welcome, everybody. It's 4 p.m. on Thursday, January 13th, 2022. I'm Ruth Ann Webster, and this is the Library Board meeting of the City of New Ulm. And we'll start with the approval of the agenda, which everybody has. I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Any discussion on the agenda items? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We have an agenda. And the first thing on the agenda is the introduction of the library board members. And I think we'll go around the table like this. Margaret, you want to start?
Hi, I'm Margaret Blomberg. I am, I've been here a while, not sure. I've been here a while. So I've been on the board for quite some time.
All right, good.
I'm Carl Zeidler, and I'm starting my second three-year term
Okay.
tonight.
I'm Vince Borgo. I'm back for my third and final term. I think that's how it goes.
All right. And I'm Ruth Ann Webster. This is my first term. I'm a first termer.
I'm Dustin Sutter, also a first termer, second year.
Okay.
Sarah Berger, first term. And I'm April Idy, I'm the library director.
Great. And we got two people, or a couple people that are not here.
Three, we have Gabby Budensky and Bernice Schmitz and Ting Ting Schwartz.
Okay, good. Thank you so much. And now, April, you want to fill us in on the election of officers?
Sure. Ruth Ann has agreed that she would be willing to be our president again, and Vince has said that he would be willing to be our vice president. He has experience as the president of the board in his previous terms. And Gabby, although she's not here, she did let me know that she would be willing to serve again as our secretary treasurer.
All right.
I'll make a motion to accept that slate as our officers for the library board for the year 2022.
Right. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Is there Any, I think I have to ask you 3 times. Any nominations from the floor? Any nominations from the floor? Any nominations from the floor? Then I'll call that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Great.
You know, we should have taken this opportunity for all these no-showers. We should have voted them into positions.
What were we thinking? What were we
I would
thinking?
have shown them, huh?
Next year, next year.
Reason why I came today.
You've been on the board enough time, enough of that. And then continuing on with, the allocation of duties of the board, we need to affirm or elect a Brown County Library Board representative, and Carl Zeidler is the current representative. And I'm wondering, Carl, if you'd be willing to serve again?
Yes.
All right. Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Then I'll accept a motion to appoint Carl Zeidler as the library board representative.
So moved.
Okay, good. For Brown County. Second?
Second.
All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Good. And again, Traverse de Sioux Library Board representative is Carl. And Carl, are you willing to serve again?
I am, as a retired person, I have the time available to do it, but
Great, good. Any other nominations? Nominations, good. I'll take a motion to accept Carl Zeidler as the Traverse de Sioux Library Board representative.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
All right. Motion second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 And Carl, you're in. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. Bravo,
oh,
bravo.
if anytime someone else is interested, please don't hesitate, to step forward. That's
Right.
fine. But I know it's easier for someone that's not working
Right.
full-time any longer to
Right, right.
get in on these meetings.
So now, do you attend these meetings in person or are these virtual?
The Brown County Library Board this past year was in person. The TDS Library Board meetings have been virtual since March of 2020.
Mm.
And so the Brown County ones, where do you go to attend those?
We rotate around the different 5 libraries in the county, and I think our next meeting in June will be here in New Ulm,
Yes.
our
Okay.
library.
And I joined the TDS board as the public library representative alternate. So if Carl and I were to need to attend those meetings in person again, we could travel together.
Okay, okay, good, 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 good. All right, moving on, we need to approve the minutes from our December 9th, 2021 Library Board meeting. We have those. Any comments on those minutes? Otherwise, I will accept a motion I'll call for a motion to accept those minutes.
So move.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We have minutes. Now on the financial report, this is year end.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So we're still waiting on some final invoices for 2021 to come through. So these are not the exact final numbers, but we're getting close. We're 100% through 2021, and right now our budget is approximately 95.78% expended. We do have some outstanding bills that will be paid this month, and then I'll include the final report for 2021 in our February board packet.
So what do you estimate that the final percentage will come in once those invoices clear?
I don't have a good estimate yet. I'm waiting on some corrections and adjustments
Oh,
possibly,
okay.
so.
And I think you did note in your report that the subscriptions and memberships number, it looks like an error.
Yes.
Okay, and so we'll look at those year-end figures at our next meeting.
Yes, and that is due to the renewal cost for the website was about $2,000 more than I was expecting. And we didn't have a good breakdown from the vendor. And so once we have that, I think we'll be able to get it corrected.
Okay,
But it doesn't look like we'll exceed 100%.
No,
okay.
no, there will be funds going into our fund balance.
Any-
There were I did detail it out. I don't need to repeat myself from what's in the packet, but there were a couple other lines that were overspent due to grant funds that we spent, but the way the accounting is done, they're coded to the appropriate line. So that accounted for a couple other lines that were overspent, but not really.
Okay, right. Right, okay. Any other comments, any other discussion about the financial reports? Like I said, it looks like we're going to be talking about the year end again in February, and that's fine. Okay, all right. On to the librarian's report about activities and statistics.
So the city has been working, Shauna Baumgarten, especially from the Human Resources Department, on what the guidelines would be for masking and vaccination for the city. And with the Supreme Court's decision today, that will be changing. And so we're still waiting on final information from Minnesota OSHA to know whether or not the city has to follow that. But she is sending frequent and rapid updates to the staff on what they need to be doing.
Well, I'm sure you've all read the Supreme Court decisions already, so. Sorry for being the legal geek, but, so,
United Way tax preparation will be back for another year. They are starting up again in our meeting room February 8th and will go through April 21st. And they meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays from about 9 to 5. And this is just an excellent service that we are really happy to partner with the United Way for. It's really beneficial to our patrons. Their appointment line for those tax preparation appointments is open now. So that number for the public is 507-276-3186. Library staff attended active shooter training on Friday, December 10th, and that was led by the New Ulm Police Department. And we do have some ideas that stemmed from their walkthrough with staff of the building of ways we can improve sight lines from the service desk and ways we can improve communication between staff in the building were a situation to arise. So I've got that on my to-do list to address some of those things that we found in our walkthrough. ProQuest, our vendor for Ancestry Library Edition, our Ancestry database, ended their remote at-home access at the end of 2021. And that was an extra service that they were offering to their public library patrons throughout the pandemic. So now patrons would need to access that database like they did before the pandemic at the library using either their own device or our computers. And then we also have 5 Chromebooks available for checkout now. These are owned and managed through TDS and distributed to member libraries who are interested for our patrons' use. Patrons can check these out for a period of 3 months at a time, and they can also check out a Wi-Fi hotspot at the same time to enable them to use those at home. And those were made possible by the American Rescue Plan Act.
Are the Wi-Fi hotspots 3 months as well?
The ones from TDS are, yeah.
Okay,
And then we still have our
the individual ones, okay.
owned ones.
Thank you for the clarification.
And then TDS stats continue to trend upward throughout the region over 2020, but we are still seeing stats below where they were before the pandemic. So everybody's just trying to regain ground there. And our overdrive use also continues to trend upward. That has been a significant resource for our patrons throughout the pandemic.
Okay. Any other questions or comments about the report? All right, moving on.
All right, for January programming, we have the Adult Winter Reading Program starting this month. That's for anyone ages 16 and older. It runs from January 6th through February 28th, and patrons can register at the library to participate. You'll take a bingo sheet home with you, and you can earn up to 5 bingos, and each bingo is an entry to win one of 3 $20 Chamber Buck certificates, and those were sponsored by the Friends of the Library. And then when you do your first bingo, you can also pick out a free book that we're donations either from the Friends of the Library or from our vendors. The Wacky Wonders program continues on Thursday, January 13th at 3:30 p.m. That's for children in grades 2 through 5, and each month we do a different art, crafts, or STEM project. Registration is required for that and can be done through the library's website or by calling us at 507-359-8331. Our Evaluating the News seminar started in January and will continue through February 3rd on Thursdays at 6:30 p.m. You do not have to attend all sessions to gain knowledge from any of them, so come as you're able to. But we're talking about how to evaluate news, how to determine if sources are reliable, accurate, and then looking for bias in news stories. So that's just a great,
And apparently that was quite well attended.
yes.
In, the coldest night of the year, you had quite a turnout, so.
Yeah, I think Leroy really gained his audience during the Constitution series, and this was a topic that was requested by several of the patrons who attended that program.
Okay, thank you. Thank
And
you.
then on Friday, January 21st at 4 p.m., we have I Shouldn't Be Here, A Writer's Journey with author Alan Eskins. He's a mystery author who is quite popular with our patrons. And he will be doing a presentation as well as a book signing, so you're welcome to bring books or purchase them at the event. And then that program is made possible through the Traverse des Sioux Library Cooperative with Arts and Cultural Heritage funding.
Great. Great, thank you. Any other comments about programming or things that are going on in the library?
Well, I mentioned to April the other day, after having read the agenda and renewing my familiarity with our strategic plan and the emphasis, and one of the objectives was programming. It seems to me, after listening to all the programs that our library offers, we're certainly right on target with where we want to be with programming within the community and within the library itself.
Yes, thank you. Any other comments? Otherwise, we'll move on to our action item. Always happy to, this is our first resolution of the year, Resolution 2022-01, and it's to accept donations and memorials received from November 9th, 2021 to December 31st, 2021. And we have a nice list of people. People are so kind and willing to support our library. I'm not going to read them all, but we can see we're still receiving donations in memory of Diane Zellman, and Kent Olson and Julie Zitzman, as well as just some regular donations. And so I will accept a motion to offer the resolution and waive the signing of all the gifts.
So move.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, motion and second. Anyone else want to call out anything about the memorials and donations?
So I see the 145 of that is going to be designated, the rest is undesignated. Do we know what the designation is for?
Yes, those were materials that we received. So we received a book donation, 2 book donations, and then $100 for cookie bags for the St. Nicholas program. So the designations were actually all materials that we received.
Okay.
Great, great. Okay, anything else? Otherwise, without a secretary or assistant librarian, I guess, April, can you call the roll?
Sure. Sarah Berger,
Yes.
Margaret Blomberg,
Yes.
Vince Burgo,
Yep.
Dustin Souter,
Yes.
Ruth Ann Webster.
Yes,
Carl Zeidler.
Yes.
all right. We have a resolution. Resolution passes. Now, the next thing to talk about is our strategic plan. And we talked about this I think we talked about this a little bit in December. And I have taken the opportunity, since I wasn't here when the strategic plan was put in place of 2018, to take a look at that. But I also appreciate that our library director has talked about an overview of what was done and what how you've moved forward. And do you want to give us that?
Sure. The reason I'm bringing this strategic plan to you now is because it's scheduled to go through 2022. So this would be the year where we would need to consider if we want to write another one, if we want to extend the one we have, what action we want to take. The city manager, I've spoken with him about this a little bit, and the city has plans to work on a comprehensive plan in 2023 or likely 2024 is what I'm hearing. And so we could choose to extend this and then work our planning into the city's overall schedule. But I just wanted to get some guidance from the board and give you an update on where we are now. So one of the things Ruth Ann wanted me to look at was kind of where the pandemic had its highest effects on us. And the areas I identified that we were affected most is where we were looking at patron visits to the building, which included programming, and then it did affect us financially as we saw budget cuts in 2021 to some of our lines. Now, I think we were pretty fortunate as far as budget goes compared to other communities, but it did still change what we spent on our collection, especially. So I can go through the goals. There's 2 goals in the plan. The first one is to provide a welcoming environment. And the major activities that are still outstanding that I've identified here are repurposing the second floor space. We have not created a committee for that or taken any action there. Staff have discussed it informally at our meetings, but we have not taken any action to do any planning there. We still need to finish the carpet replacement, which has been contingent on other things going on in our building, like the roof, where we've had some leaking. We still need to evaluate our signage in the library. And then many of the activities throughout the plan mention taking a patron survey, which we have not done during this first 4 years of this plan. Activities that are ongoing for this goal would be the customer service and other training that we're doing for our staff, and then the maintaining the tidy shelves and the overall appearance of the library. And then activities in this goal that I've identified that we maybe need to reevaluate, especially since the pandemic, is communicating ways to use our facilities and services. COVID has really changed the way our patrons are using the library right now. We've had some patrons who are coming back and expecting full-fledged services, which we're pretty close to. There are a few things we're not doing, like toys in the kids' room yet, those kind of things. But we also have patrons that we haven't seen since the pandemic. You know, they maybe moved on and are using Overdrive exclusively. So I think the way our patrons are using the library has really changed. And then I also would like to revisit the catalog computers. We changed to using Chromebooks for our catalog stations. And I've had comments from patrons that make me think that they're maybe just not the best fit for our patrons' needs, especially when it comes to size and ease of use when you're out among the stacks. Do you want me to stop for that goal and we can discuss, or keep going to the next one?
Anybody want to talk about that particular goal?
I think when you look at what you've just mentioned from where we started when we came up with the strategic plan 4 years ago, right? 4 years ago when we came up with it, with the items that had been thrown at us in regards to the pandemic, everything that you just said would have been on my top of the list of needing to be accomplished too. Can we get those things accomplished within the space between now and when the city writes their full-fledged strategic plan?
I think if we refocused on specific activities that we wanted to address, that we could make good headway on some of them.
Yep.
The one that I'm concerned about is the second floor space. I think that's gonna take some time. The replacement of the roof did make it into the city's budget for 2022. But the city's building manager did let me know that they are thinking that maybe they just want to focus on getting the HVAC done this year because they are concerned about having workers on the roof doing HVAC after they've replaced a roof and just popping holes in it again. So I am a little concerned. We haven't had any issues with leaks recently, but I am concerned. Yeah, I'm concerned that we could. And then if we've recarpeted that space and, put technology up there or whatever we decide to do, that we could be looking at damage.
So with the strategic plan ending in the next 12 months, if we state we're going to hold off and rewrite within the city's strategic plan, we want to make sure that those things are addressed. And I feel that when we wrote that strategic plan, none of us had any idea that COVID was going to hit the library the way it has. So our mind thought for that second floor was completely different, I think, than what it would be now with the way the library is being used too. So I don't know if it would be beneficial to reevaluate some of those things and tweak it and extend it another year so then we can maybe accomplish some of those things. But I don't even know how to wrap our head around what we would do with some of these things that we considered to be high level things that we wanted to be addressed.
And that certainly, the board could say, this goal is not meeting what our patrons' needs are right now, and we just don't.
That's
Want to
probably your
pursue
best
it.
bet.
There seemed to me to be a couple items in there that were certainly achievable within,
Yep.
A 12-month period to, fit within the 5-year plan. It comes to mind the signage issue. I mean, that is one of those things that, that could be managed in, I would hope, a 12-month period. And there may be others in there that you feel as well could be fit in the 12-month period. Maybe just prioritize those things that can be done, and just set some energy towards achieving those. And issues like the carpeting being contingent on the roof, being contingent on the HVAC system, certainly is going to have to be delayed and be at the mercy of how the city goes about replacing that HVAC system first. And I think some of those other issues and items can be addressed.
I think the way we wrote the strategic plan too, there's a lot of goals and activities that are just ongoing. And we have accomplished them in that we've been doing them, but they would need to continue for continued success. And so I don't know if we want to say, yes, we've accomplished this, or if we just want to continue with and build on what we've done too, like some of the training things and the processes we've put in place to keep the library looking good.
Would it be beneficial for us to create a subcommittee like we did before to go through and see if there are specific changes that we would want to enhance, and maybe it's updated, the strategic plan is extended until 2024 to then that would allow us to either add, if we wanted to add or switch up some of those goals, not necessarily the goal, sorry, some of those action items that kind of you stated as to whether or not they're feasible, or if it's not obtainable, we would have to take it off. But I feel that with strategic plans, the reason why you go through the process to create them is to stay on target, but also then after that 5 years is up, you evaluate and create new strategic plans so that you're always moving forward, not just ongoing.
Right.
Because then I think we lose direction.
One of my concerns about, launching in with all 4 feet on something like this is right now we don't have an assistant library director. And so it's a little shorthanded. I agree that moving forward, we should set up a subcommittee. It's just a question in my mind as to when that work begins. And I would like to, I'd like to wait until we have an assistant library director. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe April's happy as a clam to have 2 jobs.
April, do you
but-
remember when we started this in 2018? What time of year?
The committees, I think, started in 2017. And then
Yeah.
when I looked back at the board packets, I think it was, the plan was approved in like February of 2018.
Okay, so, but we did it like in the fall? Like, I'm trying to remember.
September, we were starting to meet, I
Was it
think.
that's around September or something? So,
Like
I mean,
March,
even
yeah.
if it's on our radar as to something that would, then we should start kicking in, I guess, closer to the end of this year to reevaluate. And then it's either updated, and even if it's not changed, but our goal or our action items possibly have changed to some extent, then we are able to. Okay. Oh, no. Then we would be able to, just move it over to the cities once the city comes up with theirs.
Right, and I'm not sure how much of an effect the city's comprehensive plan is going to have on the library's comprehensive plan or strategic plan. Carl, do you have any thoughts on that?
I guess I really wouldn't be able to answer that. I think I'm reluctant to say that it would have a big effect. I don't know. I can't imagine that, because as we looked at this particular strategic plan that we're winding down in, I don't recall that we looked at any of the details of the city's plan that they had in
Right.
place either. So
Right.
I'm not sure that it makes that much difference. I certainly think that, strategic plans are such that they can be somewhat adaptive in their nature as you get into them, and if something needs to be done or addressed, given what the city's overall master plan is, I'm guessing that the library's plan will be flexible enough to
Right.
take care of that.
Can you remind me who was on the subcommittee that looked at put together this, the bones of the strategic plan to bring to the board?
Chris Wiley and myself,
Okay,
Carl and Margaret and Bernice from the board.
okay.
The Friends of the Library President Chris Troutloff was, she's no longer the Friends president, but was at the time. We had, I believe, Juanita Gilbert and Sue Ellery from our staff.
Okay.
And then Chris looked for a community member but couldn't get anyone to commit to the
Okay.
meetings, so.
Okay. Okay. Well, and I've talked to you about this before. I think sometimes recruiting a community member, you should look at your book clubs and your attendees and that sort of thing. I think that's more in place than it was about 5 years ago. What about we put this on the agenda for our next meeting, and maybe you can put out a call for some volunteers to serve on the subcommittee. I'd like at least one person on the subcommittee who served on the last subcommittee. I think that one of the things about being the president is that you're ex officio on all subcommittees, so. But I need somebody to, tell me what was done the last time, too, so. Is that everybody agree to that? I don't think we necessarily need a motion, but I think that's really would be the plan. Because I agree, I think we should really take a look at this. You know, take,
I would be more than happy to be on that subcommittee.
that's just what I wanted to hear. Thank you. Thank you.
And I did go through the plan and just do an update for each activity. If the board wants that much information, I could certainly include it in our next packet, so you have that ahead of the meeting. If it's
It might be
of
something
interest.
for the subcommittee to kind of dig into. I know that when we had those meetings where we kind of dug really deep, it was beneficial to kind of see some of that detail. I'm not sure if the board needs that much detail
Right.
Okay.
in regards to it, unless they want it.
Yep, I agree.
And it might be useful for, especially for those that weren't able to make it today, to keep the plan itself out in front of us as we get into our February meeting, so maybe continue to make it a part of our agenda or you know, information that you include with our agenda packet.
I think we have a plan.
That sounds good. Thank you for the direction. I appreciate it.
All right, I think we have a plan. Any other business? Otherwise, wait a minute, meeting adjourned. Great.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Off to a good start.